my procasts.
Yes.
Yes, it sounds like we have Chris back now in the house, and we are going to be jumping into Game 2.
Indeed, where we have at the top of Shattered Temple, Psych, the Orange Terran, playing for Team aiR.
Absolutely, and for Team Cal Poly Pomona, spawning in the bottom position as the Green Zerg, our winner from Match 1, but our loser of Game 1 in Match 2, we have Spido.
Yeah, and we have cross positions again in a TVZ on Shattered Temple, so, what are your thoughts this time? You think we're going to see Reactored Hellions again?
You know, I don't know. It's tough to call, because Spido has really been liking that macro-style game, but, here he kind of macroed just a little bit too hard. At one point, he had that huge worker supply. That 105 worker supply was just a little much. I think he was just so focused on getting that macro up that he started to feel unbeatable, and that's always the worst position to be in as a Zerg also, just because, you get into that position where you're like, man, I have so many bases, I have so many workers, I cannot lose right now. Every single army that I lose, I'm just going to remax really quickly. Psych comes in with those big drops, does lots of damage, and goes, yeah, well, you don't have enough armies, so I'm just going to kill you now.
And that's got to be the most disheartening feeling for a player ever. To be
absolutely.
Feeling unbeatable, being another, almost perfect win situation, and then all of a sudden have it just, taken from under your feet. It's got to be so awful.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That can be a huge blow to your confidence, and this is something that really, really affects certain players. A lot of players are very, very strongly affected by, losses early on. Of course, that recent statistic came out that aiR is, of course, famous for getting put on tilt quite easily. Generally, what was the statistic? I believe it was that if in a best of 3 aiR loses the first game, it is like an 80% chance that he will win or he will lose the best of 3.
Yeah, I think it was higher than that. I thought it was 29 out of 30 or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was really, really high. But that's something that, of course, not only affects aiR, it just affects everybody in general. If you go on that big winning streak and all of a sudden someone takes a win off of you, just like Psych did there in Game 1, that can be a big blow to you, because now Spido is going to be thinking, oh man, I lost Game 1 right now. I could be knocked out of the tournament right now. So I might need to do something crazy to win. You might sometimes see players pressured into all of a sudden deciding, you know what, I'm just going to go for some kind of 2-base all-in right now just because I'm scared of that pressure.
Oh, and we do have a bunker coming down here for Psych, easily in range of Spido's vision. Sorry, I lost the name somewhere. But this Marine will come down and chase that drone away, so Spido is pulling a couple more drones just to be safe.
He does have a couple of Marines on the way here, so this is not a 2 racks all-in by any means, but that bunker is managing to stay up, and he is able to pick off a couple of Zerglings here. If this bunker goes up, Psych could take this game right now.
Definitely could. It doesn't look like it's going to. Second Marine is coming in, though.
Careful with that Marine. Second Marine is now out on the field, and he's kiting these drones as best as he can, but I don't know about this. This bunker still isn't complete. He lost the SCV that was building it, and now that Marine, I think, is going to go down, and there's the cancel from Psych.
So, good reaction from Spido. He actually lost 2 workers to that. So, it's unfortunate, but he didn't have to put down a spine crawler. He only made 4 lings, didn't overreact to it at all, and cleaned it up quite nicely.
Yeah, I really like that reaction from Spido. A lot of newer Zerg players will see that bunker go down and go, oh my god, Z! And then they'll just sit there holding the Z button forever and ever, produce 30 Zerglings, and then all of a sudden the pressure ends and they go, oh, I held it off.
And
I have 5 workers.
Far behind for the end of the game.
Yeah, and then they'll be like, well, now what am I going to do with all these Zerglings? Maybe I'll be aggressive. Nope, he's got Hellions now. I can't be aggressive with Zerglings. But it looks like that one Zergling did manage to get into the base. Didn't actually see the command center go down right now. But did he scout that second factory?
Not.
He did not see that second factory, because that is actually very, very unusual here from Psych.
Yeah, no, this is going to be double reactor Hellion play. A little bit all-inish, a little bit vulnerable to mutas and good defense. But with only 2 spine crawlers and only lings at the top of the ramp, he might be able to do a ton of damage.
Yeah, I mean, earlier I was going to say that one mark of a good player is, like I was saying, after being under such pressure of losing Game 1, he might be tempted to go into just all-in mode, get lots and lots of units, and go for a big attack here, but it looks like Spido is actually keeping his cool here and just going back into macroing normally, which I was going to say is the mark of a very good player, but it actually could cost him the game here, as it looks like Psych really, really wants to end this game in Game 2.
Yeah, really putting himself out there, taking a pretty big risk here. going double reactor Hellion. This is super all in. If it gets scouted, pretty easy to stop, but we have not seen a Roach Warren in any of our games from Spido, I don't think. So,
yeah, I don't have.
This might be a really good call from Psych, only now having gases go down.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, of course, something that Psych is okay to do. I mean, if you think about it, he won Game 1, so he's in a position right now where if he loses this game, he'll push it to Game 3. He'll be a little bit tense, but you'll go to Game 3. But if he goes for something that's really, really high risk and potentially high reward in this scenario, he could potentially just win this game outright right now, and he has that flexibility right now to be able to just go for these big all-in kind of attacks.
Yeah, we have a... Oh, I think this is a transfer of SCVs. I was going to go, oh my god, what is this? Marine or SCV Hellion, here we go.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to be completely all in, as he is now throwing that orbital command down at his natural expansion, but holy Hellions, Batman, check out the number of Hellions right now for Psych.
A lot of this is going to come down to the surrounds. He's going to be able to pick off spine crawlers with this mini Hellions. I mean,
he really just doesn't have a whole lot out. He's just going to decide to engage that spine crawl. He's just going to decide to sit in that natural expansion and be like, yeah, no more minerals for you, as I am now just going to sit here and start to focus on that hatchery.
And look how far speed is away, look how far this Baneling nest is away, and look how oversaturated the Zerg player is in his main.
Was really going for that macro style again. He does currently have 3 queens on the map, but look at how fast even the queens are going down to this many Hellions. I think Psych might actually take this series right now if this hatchery goes down.
I don't think there's a way he can stop the hatchery from going down. The Baneling nest isn't close enough to finish yet. He's really got to, or Spido really needs to delay these Hellions from killing this hatchery.
Yeah, notice more and more Hellions are continuing to stream across the map here from Psych, and here goes those queens taking so much damage. Might be able to get off the transfuser too. Oh, looks like he already did, and now it looks like that hatchery is going to go down, and Spido is going to be in a terrible position. But we do have Banelings now moving down the ramp, and they're actually connecting with quite a few of those Hellions, and a lot of Hellion losses were obtained there by Psych.
They definitely were, but I mean, looking at the supplies, it's 54 to 48. The only tech we have for Spido is Baneling and Zergling with speed. And those are not very good against Hellions. I don't know if anyone...
Yeah. He is up in the worker count right now. He is 44 harvesters to 34, but he's got no base. So most of those workers, I would say about 20 food worth of workers are completely worthless right now. Just because once you hit about 16 to 20 workers, your mineral line pretty much gets fully saturated, and you can't really get that much more income off of having more workers than that.
Yeah, Psych actually focusing a lot on his micro, not so much on his macro. He's actually floating a ton of minerals right now. But, wow, actually microing all of his Hellions really well.
Yeah, he's actually doing very well pulling him back, but it looks like the Zerglings are now out trying to get a good surround on those Hellions. Not quite able to get it, as those Hellions were forced to fall back a little bit. But man, Spido is not feeling like he's in a good position right now, and he's actually throwing down a Spire here, trying to find a way to put pressure back on his opponent.
Yeah, Spire's going to do very well here. We're going to have no Marine upgrades for a long time. Engineering Bay just now going down. And this is something Psych loves to transition to. Instead, most players stop mining gas when they do this double reactor Hellion, because it delays some of your Hellions a little bit when you were still mining the gas. But he keeps mining gas, and he goes into double factory siege tank with heavy Marines and upgrades.
Interesting. Now, very, very interesting move here by Spido. I don't know if he thought that scan might have seen his Spire, but for whatever reason, he canceled that Spire and threw down an infestation pit. So it looks like he's switching tech there, either to try to pull a fast one on Psych, or just because he decided, you know what, Mutalisks are just not going to cut it here. Mutalisk production on one base is very, very difficult to do. He's just now getting those workers mining gas at his natural expansion. It is back up again, and he's going to start to tear down those destructible rocks to his third.
Yeah, even on 2 bases as Zerg, it's pretty hard with the limited amount of gas you have to get a death ball of mutas. You really just have to harass with a few of them and rely really heavily on your Zergling Baneling control to take care of armies.
Yeah, absolutely. You really need to have at least 3 bases to really start to churn out those Mutalisks in the way you want and be able to still get upgrades.